In today's lesson, we're going to learn how to write algebraic expressions given like a word phrase. So it'll say something like um, these examples on the back, and we'll be writing them as algebraic expressions. So we'll be given like a word phrase, and we'll have to write it as like a algebraic expression with numbers, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and then our variable or our letter. Okay, so to help us out with that, we are going to sort these like keywords into which operation they go along with. That way, this page can be a really great resource for you when you're writing these algebraic expressions to reference so that you know like, oh, difference. Okay, that means addition or subtraction or whatever it is. Okay. So I would like you to go ahead and pause this video and try to sort these words on your own. If there's one you're not sure of, just skip over it because the video will go through it once you're done. But then at least you can kind of try to sort them on your own. For example, plus, I would assume we would all know where plus would go. So try to sort some of these out on your own. Again, if you're not sure, you can always just skip over it. All right, so if we just resume the video, we should already have some words in these boxes and we're just checking our answers. So I'm going to go through this pretty quickly because we should just be checking our work, not writing them all down. So plus would be addition. Difference would be subtraction. If I'm finding the difference between 10 and 5, I would do 10 minus 5. Less than, if I want 2 less than 3, I would subtract. Less than is going to be a special case where if it's like 2 less than 3, the actual like operation would be 3 minus 2 where we like switch that order. But we'll talk about that more later. Factors. So if I have factors, like 3 and 5 are factors of x, that means we would take x and divide it by 3 or 5. So that would be division. Remember, factors are a number that can be divided by that number. Decreased by, that would be subtraction. If I have like 10 decreased by 5, we'd get 5, which would be 10 minus 5. Times is multiplication. Ratio. Now ratio. We haven't talked about ratios yet, but we will. Ratios have to deal with fraction bars. Okay, so like a ratio of 2 apples to 3 oranges would be written as a fraction. And remember, fractions are division. So a ratio would be division. Increased by, if it's 5 increased by 10, we do 5 plus 10. So that's going to be addition. Separate. So if I have 10 separated into 2 groups, that's going to be division. Minus will be subtraction. Of, remember if we have a number of a number, we talked about that when we did fractions, that's going to be multiply. So it has to be a number of a number because a lot of sentences are just going to have the word of in it as a part of the sentence, as the structure. But when it's a number of a number, that's when it means multiply. Sum is the answer to an addition problem. Product is the answer to a multiplication problem. Multiplied, again, that's pretty straightforward. That would be multiplication. Less, so 10 less 2 would be subtract. Kind of sounds a little funny without like a less than. Less than was subtraction, so more than would be addition. If I have 5 more than 10, I would have 15, which would be adding 10 and 5. In all, if I want to know how many posters I have in all of Team 6-1, I would have to count mine and Miss Munoz and Miss Griffin and Miss Stone and add them all up. divided. Again, that's pretty straightforward. Quotient, remember quotient is the answer to a division problem. Per, if I have like 10 pencils per student, okay, and I've got 34 students, that could be multiply. Or if I have like 30 pencils and I want to know how many pencils per student, that could be division. So per could kind of be both depending on what the question is talking about. We won't see that one a lot, so that's okay that it's in both, but just kind of look at what the question's asking you to do with that per. If it's asking you to get a smaller number, that would be division, or if it's asking you to get a larger number, that it's multiplication. Subtract is pretty straightforward. That's just subtraction. Each, if I want to know how many each person has, that would be division. Okay, so if I have 25 donuts and I give them to my 5 students, how many donuts do they each have? We would divide 25 by 5. And then twice, if I have twice the amount of pencils as Miss Doan, I would multiply Miss Doan's pencils by 2. Multiplying by 2 is twice. Multiplying by 3 would be triple, and let's just write that one in there as well. And if you want to put like a little times 2 and times 3, just because you might see twice, and you need to know that it's multiplied by 2, not just multiplied. Okay. All right. Let's go on to some examples. Oh, excuse me. So we talked about the words less than or fewer than. Those both mean the same thing. We have to switch the order. Okay, so when we're writing these expressions, we pretty much just write them left to right, except for when we see the words less than or fewer than, we kind of switch that order, and I'll show you an example. Okay. Number 1, the sum is our keyword, of 28 and 35. Now we're not looking for an answer, we're just writing this as an expression. So sum means the answer to addition. So we've got 28 plus 35. And again, we're not answering it, we're just writing it. A number x divided by 2. So divided is our keyword, and it's x being divided by 2. We just go left to right unless we see one of these keywords. Product. Product means times. Product of a number m and 23. So that would be m times 23. That could also be written as 23m, because remember when we talked about the other day that a number next to a letter means to multiply. So those mean the same thing. You could write it either way if it was on a test or quiz. 10 less than a number a is not 10 minus a. Okay, because let's do an example. Let's say that we have 10 less than 20. So what number is 10 less than 20? 10 less than 20. Okay, that would put us at 10, right? A number that's 10 less than 20 is 10. If we were to look at a number line and we've got 20 over here, a number that's 10 less than 20 would be 10. So we're not doing 10 minus 20, we're doing 20 minus 10. That's why when we see that less than, we can't just go left to right. We have to kind of like switch that order. Okay, so this is going to be a minus 10. Okay. The difference between a number m and 5. M minus 5. All right, start doing some of these on your own. Okay, just use the video to check if you haven't already. The quotient of a number k and 8. Quotient means divide. K comes first, so it's k divided by 8. The only time we switch that order is when we see a less than or a fewer than. Otherwise, whatever comes first goes first, whatever comes second goes second. A number 12 divided by y. 12 divided by y. All right. 8 less than. Less than means you switch the order, so we're going to switch the order of these two. So it's going to be minus 8 at the end. And then we also have another one, twice a number b. Well, twice, remember, means multiplied by 2. So b multiplied by 2 is what that first one is. And then 8 less than that would be minus 8. Okay, we can also rewrite this b times 2 to 2b, because remember when a number is next to a letter, that means multiply. Either one of those is correct. All right, go ahead, write a summary about what you learned today. And that's all we're going to be practicing today is writing algebraic expressions from word phrases.